Hey guys, welcome back to my channel KnowledgeKeen, and this is your friend Wasim, and today we are gonna see some interesting concepts on React. But before that, React have just launched a new version, that is React 18, and all the videos henceforth will be in the version React 18. So today we are gonna see something which is called as React Fragments, and let's start our video and see what React Fragment actually is. So we have heard about React Fragments. We have basically, you know from the title itself that we are going to learn React Fragments into this session. So what is React Fragments? So to understand this, let's not create any new component or anything, but to make it more simple, understand this. We have created, this is a basic component, right? We have our app component. We have just rendered something like hello world or something. And this simply renders into our browser. It's as simple as this is, right? But what will happen if instead of this, I render something like this? Let me just add a bracket because we are going to render multi-line. So it will be easier. H1, hello and world in two different lines. You can already see that it is showing us into some red underlines because yes, what our VS Code or ESLint, what they are trying to do is they are trying to already warn us that there is something wrong that is already going on into this code. So React is not going to understand this. There is something which is written, but that is mistake. So if you just save this, you're gonna see that it compiles with some errors. So what are these errors? Why React is having this problem? So to make it more simple, let's understand it something like this. So I am saying to the React that, hey, render this as well as render this. But React gets into a problem. Whether should I render this or whether should I render this? It's similar to that. I'm trying to render multiple elements in one go. To break this down, so React introduced a concept called as React Fragments. The best place to learn. Let's type React Fragments. The first link is from reactjs.org, and we can see here. It's a common pattern in a React to render multiple elements. Yes, we are definitely going to do this, that we are going to render multiple elements under one component. That's going to happen. What Fragment is going to help us is, it's just going to let me group a list of children without adding extra nodes. So this is one of the most important line. So what it is trying to do here is, if we just simply go here, how we can add React Fragment. Let's just go to our multi-line. Okay, I'm just going to do React.fragment. Simple. I'm just going to wrap these two lines under React.fragment tag. So React.fragment is a tag itself like this. You can already see here we have React.fragment, and you can render all the components, all the HTML elements under this straightforward React.fragment tag. If I just refresh it, voila, we have our hello world. This line, what I was saying, that without adding extra nodes, if you just go over here, if I just like try to inspect it, under this, you're not going to see any React.fragment tag. So React will internally handle that, and it will not render onto your DOM because React does not, because you don't need that additional tag. You don't need that additional headache for you. So React is definitely gonna remove it. If you don't think that if you don't want a React fragment, you can simply add divs. That will also do, but you're gonna find that the div is there. So you can find the div here. See, in some cases it is definitely going to break your styling, or if you're trying to make it a bit designing kind of a perspective. From a designing perspective, if you're adding additional divs, somewhere or the other time it is gonna break. So if you don't want that kind of stuff, so what we usually do is we just add simple React fragments so that it is not rendered into our DOM, but it still works. So that's the reason we add React fragments. To make it more easier, see, we are developers, right? We don't want to write React.fragment every time because this does not look good in some or the other way, because I also don't like writing React.fragment every time. To solve this issue, okay, what React did was don't write it. Just add simple empty brackets. So this is a shorthand version of the same thing, that it is React.fragment itself. If you do it, if you save this, it is still gonna work. Nothing is going to break. So you can add React.fragment or you can add empty tags. Both are gonna work in the same way. So why do we have React.fragments then? Why do we have an additional complete sentence? It has its own benefits. If you just think it in this way, that you can add n number of attributes to each tag, to each element, right? You can have n number of attributes to each element. Like we have data src, we have like data something, we have like style attribute, and so on and so forth. So we have n number of attributes to this. But do you think that you can add any attribute to this tag? No, we cannot add, right? So that's the reason, if we have a simply React fragment, you can add your own properties. Like we have another property called as key, which is going to play an important role when we are going to see the rendering of list in the next video. But for now, just to make you understand that if you are trying to add any property to this React.fragment, you need to have to write it in this full format. You cannot write it in the shorthand. So if you still try to do that, let's say if I just add these empty tags, and if I just still try to add like key equal to 1 2 3 something like this, it's gonna break. It's not gonna work. But if I do the same thing with React fragment, let me do that, key equal to 1 2 3, it's gonna work. It's not going to break. Irrespective, it is not going to render. That's true. We are not rendering React.fragment into a DOM. But still, if you want to add some properties, if you want to add properties like key, okay, we are going to see this is a very important attribute. We are going to see into while we are rendering lists, because there we also use React fragment. At that moment, you need this properties. So in that way, you can use React.fragment. This is quite easy, right? So just to add something, okay, over and tag, you use React.fragment. We use React.fragment when we are trying to return a group of elements. Okay, so it is not required. Just to make it like, let's say that I have a div already, and I have like, let's say span abc, span xyz. So if I have something like this already, then I don't need to again wrap it into something. So where I have a simple div and I have multiple elements. So within this div, I can wrap it into React fragments, but it is not required. This is an unnecessary statement we are trying to do here, but still you can do that. So it is always recommended whenever you are trying to render multiple elements into one group, then wrap it under React.fragment. And the best case scenarios are while rendering a component and while rendering a list, okay, or list, or you can just say the numeric or ordered unordered lists. So that list, so an array in short. So in that scenarios, we use React fragments. I hope this concept was easy to understand. I have tried to simplify it as much as possible, and I hope you like this video. And if you do like this video, you know what to do. Just press on the subscribe button and give us a thumbs, and please mention all the queries in the comment box as you always mention. Thank you so much.